All right, I'm sure some of you are wondering, should I give this game a try? They've had a year to fix it. Is it any good? I'm here to argue you should. Being someone that's put close to 200 hours into this game, with 2 playthroughs, having every single achievement, I feel I have some credibility in this. Also, I'm going to keep this thing spoiler free, so if you're worried, you don't have to be. In this video, I'm going to start with 3 reasons why you should play this game, and I'll also follow up with some issues you may still run into if you do pick up this game, but I still think everybody should give it a shot. I think it's a great game. So let's jump into this. First, let's start with the core gameplay. This game has some of the most fun gunplay I've ever experienced in a game. It handles well, has a large variety of guns to use, like the smart guns that track your opponents, or the tech rifles that shoot through walls, because that's great. I think the best part about the weapons is if you understand the skill trees and how they work, you can make any idea work. You could do a full melee build and wreck everybody, no issues. Pistols, shotguns, or maybe just be unreal in crafting so your guns outdamage your lack in skill. My last character was a smart shotgun crafting build. It was insane how much damage I could deal, and because of the crafting, I was able to basically make myself invincible with the armor upgrades. One of my gold builds is a full tech character that hacks through cameras and kills everybody without ever having to enter the room. I think it'd be such a fun build. This game makes it feel like there isn't a best strat or most broken build because every build can be taken to a broken, powerful state. It's honestly so much fun. Next, I want to talk about the world. This is one of the most detailed, interesting worlds I've ever experienced in a game. It's a massive world with endless things to explore. Almost every corner you walk into has something to look at or do. I remember my first time I played the game, I walked around Watson just looking at how the people were interacting, living, and the crazy ads that definitely are hinting at some things. These different districts have their gangs, their own personality, and a good sense of either wealth or poverty in the locations, making them feel very diverse. There's such a large variety of places that you will only see once unless you actually explore that area, like this waterfront in Kabuki District. Honestly, while even recording this stuff, I walked down some roads I have never seen before. And with someone who's had over 200 hours under his belt, that's saying something. Lastly, I think my favorite thing about this game is the characters. Every character has a personality and a way they hold themselves. They are the kind of characters I actually want to get to know. Even characters like Johnny Silverhand. And at the beginning, honestly, you hate him. He's the most annoying, just cocky person you'll ever meet. But I'd say after going through his entire story, you actually kind of start to feel bad for him. He starts to open up to you and you get a lot more detail. But I'm not going to go into that because I'm not trying to spoil anything for you guys. Another example is the 4 main side characters, such as Pan Am, Judy, River, and Carrie. They have so much backstory in detail. There's so much to explore with these characters and the communities they live in. There were moments literally in these stories where I got chills from the things that were happening, the way the music played, the way that the characters interacted. You get a real sense of emotion from these characters. They're not just these static characters that look you blank in the face. You feel like there's actually a person behind it, and it's really cool. All right, let's shift gears a little bit and let's talk about what to prepare for and one of the main issues that I'm still experiencing in the game, even since the last patch. The main issue right now is the game is slow to render. Now I'm playing PC, so things like this might be different on console. This matters because sometimes cars can just spawn on top of you and cause you to just go flying. It's honestly hilarious to me, but it can be a little annoying. If you're driving fast enough in a car, sometimes the cars won't even render on the roads and you'll have a clean road, which makes it kind of easy to drive considering the cars handle like butt in this game. I find most of my issues is whenever I'm driving a car. Whenever I'm just walking around or running around on foot, usually the game can keep up with my pace and I don't have many issues. But it's when you're driving fast going somewhere that the game has trouble, like when you crash into walls and the sound effect will go off about 5 seconds later. It's funny, but it can pull you out of the moment, especially if you're immersed in the game. Now, I do think this is potentially fixable just by turning down the graphics settings, but I'm a sucker for good graphics and ray tracing, so I'm gonna keep dealing with it. So since I believe that most of these issues are caused from how slow the game is to render sometimes, I've had a lot of interesting moments in my latest playthrough that I figured I'd show you a couple of the funny situations I've run into. It might have been something else, but from what I understood. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
Shortly before Ryan passed, he made cuts in the
Oh,
NCPD budget.
your lips stopped moving.
Perhaps got on someone's bad side that way.
Ooh, nice car.
I have found a good place to observe.
Yes, you have. Where'd you go? Next, something that happens that's actually a glitch, I think, but not really. This happens to characters in cutscenes. They gain the ability to walk through anything. They'll walk through characters, cars, walls, anything, as long as they're in a cutscene and doing a predetermined path. It's honestly mostly funny to me. The amount of times I've been talking with someone and they just turn around and start walking through a car has caught me off guard and made me laugh so many times. Again, this is something that can pull you out if you care about immersion, but I think it's more funny than an issue. But it is still an issue, I think. I'm sure as you're noticing, cars are a big issue in this game. For example, if you call a ton of your cars at once, they'll stack up in the same spot, and when you walk over them, they just kind of pop and explode. Or you can call them and they'll get jammed in the middle of traffic somewhere and throw the other cars all over the place. It's honestly so funny. I love it. For my last point I want to make, this is actually an issue with the game itself, not a glitch. This is a choice I think they actually put in the game and intended. And the issue is they have a very, very large collection of clothing, shoes, hats, things, lots of things. And you would say, oh, that's great. But when you realize that if you're trying to make a top level build, so you want the legendary tier with the 4 slots or 3, depending on the piece of clothing it is, there's only really like 6 or 7 choices at vendors. And trust me, if you want a character to do well in this game, you need those items with the max slots. It really changes things. Starting out in the game, if you want your character to do good, you just have to put on the best stuff you have, and you end up looking like a complete idiot most of the time. It pulls you out of the idea that you're supposed to be a top level mercenary for hire, and yet you just look like a complete idiot. Honestly, there's such an easy way to fix this, and it's just if they had cosmetic slots where you could put any armor and it wouldn't affect your armor stats or any of your sub stats or anything like that. It was purely for the cosmetics of it. Even when you look in the game menu, there is a slot where you can put something that changes the character's look cosmetically and takes off all of his other stuff. And I think that if they were to use this more advantageously with vendors maybe selling different suits and ideas and things like that were purely cosmetic, I think it would be amazing. Although it's not a big issue, it can still be annoying. However, since you only see your character in the menu, I guess it really doesn't matter. Anyway, I hope this video helped you decide whether to play the game or not. I think this game is one of the best games I've ever played. I think it deserves more recognition for the work of art that this game is, even though it still has issues. Let me know if this video helped you, and if you're thinking of giving this game a shot. Would love to know what builds you guys are also using. Also, if you want build guides, let me know down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.